Why do you say that, Father? You aren't afraid, are you?
No, but I respect some of the superstitions of others. Often they are founded in fact.
This is your time. This is your call to arms. For the Cryptid Connection is your voice. I'm your host, Jennifer.
And I'm your host, Stephen. Welcome to Cryptid Connection.
The Cryptid Connection podcast is brought to you by CryptidConnection.com, a website dedicated to you, one who has interest in all things cryptid and paranormal. CC is a place where you can enjoy a hassle-free lifestyle and community of Bigfoot pursuit. Stop by via the internet and visit. Guarantee you will start to feel at home. CryptidConnection.com.
Hey everybody, how you doing tonight? This episode, we're going to actually be about Cryptid Connection. You're going to have me, Jennifer, and Logan. We are the core of Cryptid Connection. And so tonight, since we hadn't been on in a little while, we figured we'd catch up with everybody. And so we're going to spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours of just visiting with each other. We're going to talk about all kinds of different topics. Everything from problems with research to problems with evidence presented to trustworthiness within the community to screws in tires that make them go flat in the middle of the woods. I mean, it will be everything. This is a wide-ranging discussion. We invite you in. Come on in. Get to know us. We hope you enjoy it. If you have any comments or you want to talk about anything you hear, please feel more than welcome to come to the Cryptid Connection fan page and post what you think. And we would be more than happy to talk to you about it. You can also go to the Cryptid Connection website. Before we jump into that, however, we had kind of a serendipitous event happen. Our 6-year-old son interrupted us in the middle of this podcast, and he wanted to do an interview. So we sat down and spent about 5-6 minutes with him and asked him some of the questions, and you should hear what a 6-year-old genuinely thinks. It was just awesome. And so we're putting it up there, we're putting it forward, and for your entertainment, it's going to be the first part of this episode as it comes up immediately after this intro. If for some reason you're just a cold-hearted jerk, you can skip forward. I think it'll be actually 7 minutes and 20 seconds. And then you'll get to our rambling, which might be more to your taste. I don't know. But either way, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope everyone is holding up okay with COVID and coping. I know on Facebook, everybody is just going nuts. Sit back, relax, have a good time. Let's get started. Owen.
What?
You have gone camping with us looking for Bigfoot before, have you not?
I have.
What was your experience, though?
Well, my experience was Logan had a rifle and he shot it.
As a pistol.
Logan had a rifle and shot Bigfoot?
As a pistol.
Right between the eyes.
No, not the Bigfoot, a skunk.
Oh, he shot a skunk. Oh,
Yes.
Okay. What do you think about Bigfoot?
The idea of Bigfoot is stupid and dumb.
Okay, all right.
That's fair.
What do you think about Logan?
If you say stupid and dumb, I'm throwing you.
Stupid and dumb.
He said it.
I'm joking about Bigfoot.
Well, he's joking about Bigfoot being stupid and dumb.
Oh, okay.
But to be fair, you're not wrong. Owen, if you had to choose between running into a Bigfoot in the woods or running into, let's say, a werewolf, which one would you choose to run into?
A werewolf if I had silver.
Well, let's just say that you're walking through the woods and all you have on you are your clothes. You don't have anything else?
Well, Bigfoot.
Why would you choose Bigfoot?
I don't know. He just seems a little cooler. No.
Think he'd just look at you and walk away?
Well, you can back up from him and then he'll probably not follow you. He'll just stay where you are and keep slowly backing up.
What about what if Bigfoot tries to eat you? Do you think Bigfoot would try to eat you?
Not with the gun on my side, no.
Oh. So you're a heavily armed Bigfooter?
His BB guns can hurt Bigfoot's little feelings.
Yeah, Bigfoot might be offended by the time you get done shooting him a few times.
This is true.
Do you feel like Bigfoot have a HR department that they go to when they have grievances?
Bigfoot doesn't run a company, and there's no Bigfoot World except the woods.
So there's no place to take a complaint in the woods?
So basically, if Bigfoot was like, these campers left a Coke can out here in the woods, it's not like Bigfoot can take the Coke can to HR and be like, Susan, we need to do something about this.
These humans are littering again.
What does Bigfoot do when he has a complaint?
We'll probably wreck the camp for it.
That's fair enough.
Mm-hmm. Are you ever worried about your camp getting wrecked?
Well, they wrecked their camp, so they would wreck their camp.
No.
What's your favorite thing about looking into Bigfoot and learning about potentially?
I've never seen Bigfoot alive.
I know, but what do you think?
Have you seen Bigfoot dead?
Where was
No.
Bigfoot dead?
What
Was
do
it at
you
Bankhead?
think is the most interesting part about researching Bigfoot?
I never researched Bigfoot.
What you do when you go camping?
You're
Oh.
looking for him. What's the most interesting thing when you go looking for him? About the whole thing.
Well, our last camping trip, we didn't really go on a hike, but we discovered that old river. That was pretty cool, but
That was
We
a
didn't-
hike that we found.
That was a
river.
hike. It was
No.
just a one time that it was
no,
not raining.
I'm just
Yeah.
I was actually talking about brushing through the leaves and cutting through them.
You're talking about cutting cross country instead of being on an actual path.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, we are not up to your standards when it's raining.
So
Next time we will make sure we go cross-country hiking.
Yes.
next time when me and Jeremy go out, I'll bring you, and you'll regret saying you ever wanted to do that. You'll miss the trails.
You'll be crawling through sticker bushes.
What do you think it takes to make Bigfoot a known animal like an elephant or an owl?
Well, maybe they experienced them.
They experienced them,
Yes.
so they saw them. Are you going to believe them because they said they saw them?
Well, they didn't really see them, but they saw them with technology. Oh, I can't find the word.
That's okay. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Since they used that, they could see them up closely, like the invention known as the telescope, searching in the sky.
Okay.
Wait, Bigfoot's in the sky.
And cameras.
No, he's using cameras and telescopes to see Bigfoot.
Oh!
Like they would use
I just
them
like
in
the
sky.
idea of
Bigfoot being in the sky?
Bigfoot being in the... Oh, Bat-Squatch!
Yes, Sasquatch. There you go.
I also like the idea of a Squatch-nado.
How important it is that people find Bigfoot.
Well, not that important because, Bigfoot is
He's a social creature.
I
don't
mean,
understand.
well, it's a known creature. Everyone knows of Bigfoot, but some people don't believe in him, but they know him.
How
So-
important is it to make everyone believe in Bigfoot?
Well, it's not that important because most of the time people believe in Bigfoot.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Owen.
I have one question for him before
Oh,
we go. I
never
just
mind.
thought about
You're
it.
still-
Owen, what's the monster under your bed?
There is no monster under. Oh wait,
What are you afraid of?
well, I'm afraid of as well.
Speak up.
A bloody zombie following. Cut.
Why?
Because zombies aren't real, just cut.
But you're afraid of them.
Just cut.
Okay, cut. We've cut. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well...
What's scary?
I don't really. Can someone give me some I can't find the word.
Examples?
Yes.
Go.
I am afraid that one day we won't have enough money to have for groceries.
Money is not a fear.
It can be.
Well, next suggestion.
I'm afraid of little gray aliens coming into my room and poking me and prodding me.
Dad, you're always afraid of aliens, and you're always doing podcasts about them, and you're always watching movies about them. No wonder you're afraid of them.
True. Okay, we're recording.
Oh.
This is what you do when you don't have a topic.
A topic?
Or
No, we have a topic.
And what is our topic today, Stephen?
Our topic is that we have not done a show since April. We haven't done a show since COVID really started.
I'm too busy grocery shopping online to do a show. Because every other day my family's like, can you add this to the grocery? And then they complain about, well, why are we getting so much groceries?
I've been
You told me about
I've
it.
been extremely busy with work. I would admit that. And I know Logan has too. The problem is all three of us are those essential people.
I haven't been busy.
I didn't say you weren't. I just said you were. If you don't want to be essential, though, okay, fine. Jen's not essential.
I really don't want to be essential, but I'm forced to be essential.
Yeah, and that was one of those. I don't think people need water all the time, you know. I think they can go a couple of days without it.
Without water?
Yeah, they'll be fine. So I don't know why I'm here. Classified as essential.
Without you, the toilets don't flush.
Go outside. Nature is bountiful.
This is weird. First off, everybody, we're all actually in the same location. Usually it's just me and Jennifer in the studio. And today it's me, Jennifer, and Logan.
Ooh, red kidney beans.
You just have to keep in mind, COVID shopping never ends.
No, it never does. Just ask my
It's
wallet.
kind of like when you're stuck in your house and all you have to look at is Facebook Marketplace, eBay, and Amazon.
And you have young children or teenage children in the same house.
Yeah.
All you do is eat.
You know what's funny is since COVID started, my online shopping has actually went down.
You're an aberration.
Yes, I'm afraid so, Logan.
You're
Be
an
blessed. Feel very blessed.
I am thinking that Walmart and H-E-B and all the other grocery stores are loving COVID because of all the online stuff now.
Yeah.
Oh.
But then again, I just bought a car, so I'm not going to be doing a lot of shopping.
Yes, congratulations on that.
Congratulations on the new car.
My favorite part was you opened that right then and there. That's professional.
Yes. First things first. Benefits of COVID. We've both bought new vehicles in the last few months. I just replaced my work car because my daughter needs my old car for her first car. And Logan had his truck die.
A horrible death.
I mean, it really died, too.
It did. The rod went boom and flew, and people were injured.
Now, could that be related to anything we did at band camp?
Oh, yeah. We destroyed my truck going to band camp.
Then it's a very good thing we got a car that will be able to...
I want to say something. It is definitely worth noting that Logan sacrificed his truck on the altar of Sasquatch.
It was a good way to go.
We didn't have to tow you out. That was at least the good thing. Your car made it another week or two.
I mean, it put up a good fight. Like, if trucks had ventilators, it would have been on one. You know? No, but, like, all the lights came on at the same time, and then the rod went pew. And I'm not a mechanic, but when I hear the rod go pew, I know something's dead.
Something's up.
Yeah. And, but it made me finally make the jump to get a Jeep.
It did. We now have a new addition to the Cryptid Connection fleet. And it's even color matching.
It is.
I'll have you know
Perfect.
that actually, when I realized that color matching was a criteria you were looking at when we were going through the
It
cards
warmed
and
his
everything,
little heart.
that actually
It
made
really
my
did.
little heart grow 2 times bigger.
No, I mean, that was the best looking color anyway, because everything else looked like stormtroopers, or it was like some random like lime green color. And I can't pull off lime green, so.
And here we are this whole time. Jennifer's been trying to make ours mint green.
No, I'm not making it the whole thing mint green. I'm adding accents, which is, if you are familiar with Jeeps, is a standard for the Jeep community.
I thought you were going for like a teal blue.
I have
Tiffany
compromised to an ice color blue that he tolerates.
He tolerates.
And it's only seat covers right now.
I am so
Now,
stereotypical male. If I could, I'd be all black.
I am in the thought process of working in maybe just a red. We do gray and red. And that's probably more appealing to you.
Yeah, it wouldn't be so bad.
But it's very masculine, and you have to accommodate me because I take that thing to work. It's my daily.
I know, but
that's
when
what
we go
mine
squatching, I drive it half the time, and people look
then
at me
I'll start
weird.
driving it.
May have to let you.
Ooh, I can start driving it.
That
It
is-
looks awesome behind the wheel.
The nice thing about the Trailhawk is the inside is black with the red accent, like the stitching. All the stitching is red.
Yep.
It looks pretty cool.
And then, you got the silver accents and whatever, but like that black and red looks really nice.
So see, we have to go red because he met us halfway. We have to meet him halfway. We'll have to go red.
Then we're going
So I'm going to get on Amazon right now after I get off of Walmart, and I'm going to add some seat covers to the Amazon order I have going on this month. Some red seat covers.
No.
Why don't you find white wall off-road tires?
Oh, God.
Doesn't that sound awesome? It's classy.
I think we're going to
Welcome to a day in our lives, people.
Divert from that conversation right there. The white walls. You don't understand Stephen and I's luck with tires lately. And you're going to join the club because every other freaking week we've gone to this tire company, this tire place we know, and we're like, hey, it's us again. Here's another one. And it's not on the front this time. It's on the back passenger,
For mud tires and all-terrain tires that we've got with Kevlar.
They're terrible.
No. I'm going to correct that. They have held up beautifully in the woods. They go over rocks.
But
awesome.
they don't account for my urban driving.
They don't take care of your construction zones.
No.
And
now,
go ahead.
Now, band camp, when we took my truck down there, we got the truck down there. In the process of getting it to band camp, I high-centered twice. I knocked one of my side rails loose. I think it was at band camp when my bed cover broke.
When the bed cover broke, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I had a light go out.
Yeah.
Getting out of band camp, we parked my truck there for a few days.
Just to make sure we could get it out in time.
We are, now keep in mind, we're in the middle of the woods in Oklahoma in the mountains. And lo and behold, I ran over a drywall screw. That's why my tire went flat while we were there. And
it was a drywall screw?
It was a drywall screw.
Oh my goodness. What a weird place for.
And so we aired it up.
Mm-hmm.
I drove to a gas station. I aired it up again, and I drove all the way back to Grand Saline. And then I had to wait like 4 days to get the tire guy to look at my tire because I didn't want to drive on it because it kept going flat in like 5 minutes. So I was waiting for John to open up. And then John's like, yeah, you ran over a drywall screw. And I was like, in the middle of the woods, somebody was out there.
People don't understand. Let's talk a little bit about Bandcamp because we have kept Bandcamp secret.
And it's not
But-
necessarily secret. It is just between
It is-
certain
it is
individuals
being-
who
it
don't
is-
need to be named. At
That's
this point.
right. It is being shared by a very select group of people. Small select group, too. There's only like 4 or 5 of us that even know where it is outside of this room.
In any case.
It is not in the McCurtain County Game Preserve. Because I know a lot of people want to sit there and think that all the activity is down there near Smithville. And no. I've pretty much wiped that off of our radars and our maps. There's been no activity for 2 years out there that's been anything of report or of interest. We are definitely in the mountains. We are, how long did it take us to get to that gas station that had the little restaurant in it that I love the barbecue sandwiches
that's
so much.
delicious.
That's the closest store of any kind to where band camp is. And that's honestly what, an hour and a half?
an hour.
It's about
It's
an
a drive.
hour. It's an
Yeah.
hour to like an hour and 20 minutes or something
Yeah.
to get to it.
This is an extraordinarily remote location. I really want to stress that people don't think of and realize, and I'm guilty of it myself, that even in southeast Oklahoma, there are still locations available like that are that remote. Of course, that being said, the guys driving right through our camp that one day in their mules really kind of shot my whole idea of being isolated. So,
Well, isolated to a certain extent.
yeah.
You gotta remember that if you can get there, someone else
can, and it always can.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's finding the place that they don't frequent, which the condition to get there, you're not going to frequent unless you have a 4x4.
That's right.
Unless you have a mule, unless you have a 4-wheeler.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite thing about band camp is it's in the cloud line.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's kind of pretty.
Yeah, I do
pretty.
like that. And that goes a lot to control its temperatures too.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps it a little bit cooler and nicer. And we now know that it has a thriving ecosystem. Last trip out. Yeah, it was the last trip, wasn't it? When we pulled the bear print.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, we pulled it. We were pulling bear print right there, 100 yards from camp? And it was fresh from that night before because of the rain.
And then we had the raccoons.
We had the raccoons.
Armadillo, the skunk.
The skunk.
The skunk
that stared you down.
I think he was raised
And
by
was
humans
not-
and released in the wild because he sure wanted
he
to
wasn't.
be friendly.
He wasn't just raised by any human. He was raised by gunslinging humans.
Yeah, he had no fear.
Yeah, I mean, I did shoot at him, and he just kind of stood there. So I shot his. Well, I didn't shoot his, but I shot at his tip.
I
his
will
tail.
say for the record, I have it on video. You did not actually shoot the skunk.
Because I shot.
But you were 5 feet from the skunk when you let off with that gun, and that skunk twitched.
I mean, yeah.
And then started wobbling off.
Here's another note. He didn't even spray.
No.
Yeah, that
The
was
thing
the
didn't
interesting
spray.
part.
No.
Yeah.
And that's what we were afraid of, because on that trip,
We were shooing him eventually out of camp, and then nothing happened. So then we started with the gunplay. Nothing happened.
Let's give a little background again. This was in the height of COVID when we were out there.
It was in March.
No,
was
May.
May.
It was May.
May.
And so people were just starting to consider walking out the doors again. And we had our 2 kids with us on that trip. Because quite honestly, we had nowhere to take them, nowhere to put them.
And they were getting...
Everybody needed to get out. And so we brought the 2 kids with us. And we've got a 6-year-old boy who has no fear.
Very curious. Very, very curious.
And we did not want to have to deal with the skunk coming into camp with him
Ooh, a new pet.
in the camp at the same time. If it had just been the 3 of us, we would never have shot at the skunk. We wouldn't have done anything. We probably would have just...
Let it walk through.
Yeah, as soon as we realized it was just going to be a jerk, we would have just walked to the edge of camp, maybe taken a hike or something, and just let it go and smell whatever it wanted. But anyway, because we had the kid, we tried to deter it. And that was an adventure in itself.
Because the child in question definitely got involved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There was no
He
holding
thought
him
that
back.
was pretty cool.
He was like, "It's a skunk. Let me see it. Why don't we want to let the skunk come close?"
I was hoping that if I shot at its feet, or at its butt, it would take off and run. Because if you shot it in camp, it would have sprayed no matter what.
Yes, and that was what we were trying to avoid.
So I was shooting around this skunk, and it just sat there and was like, I mean, you might as well take me out. And it kept coming. Was it the first time or the second time I actually shot at it that it did run off? It came right back.
Within 5 minutes it had returned. And, oh my gosh, that skunk. The second time you shot at it, or rather, I guess it's third time actually, because it was after it came back the second time. That time it finally did get scared off and it didn't come back in. It was just after your cooking. That's what it was.
Probably. Yeah.
It was. Logan has this new grill that he bought.
Was it a test drive, so to speak?
It was an outdoor test drive.
Test drive.
Yeah. Because I got the Adventure Ready Blackstone, the little 28-inch one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be this high and mighty, take it out there and you can have a McDonald's in the woods.
What do you think of it?
I mean, I like it. It's kind of annoying to put together and pull around out there because it likes to flip over, but it serves its purpose. Make sure you have a flat surface if you're going to cook.
That was the big deal with Bandcamp, was actually finding a smooth.
Bandcamp, for the majority of it, is kind of slanted.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, speaking about Bandcamp and being slanted, y'all's giant princess tent versus my hammock in the middle of a tornado was pretty impressive.
That was amusing.
Yeah, we actually have thought of getting some hammock tents and trying that method out.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was
because of that.
The tornado was 7 miles away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Not even that.
It was a very good adventure.
We were in the warning area.
I just know when I was in the hammock and I was swinging, that was really peaceful and relaxing. And I wish there was more tornadoes now.
Go to hell. I do not like tornadoes.
No.
But that's...
And I don't like being out of cell service without being able to get weather reports when there's a tornado nearby. That is
detriment. One downside of Bandcamp, but it's also a positive of Bandcamp. There's no cell service
at all.
And that tells me that 90% of your people that are going out there and camp they won't camp there because they don't have cell service. That's a big problem with people now is if they can't send a message, if they can't get on Facebook and say, look at us, we're out here camping, they won't be there. You know what I mean?
I'm going to admit something. No. I like my cell service. And after the tornado thing, I actually investigated a small weather balloon that I could raise up a couple 100 feet with an antenna.
To those of you who are familiar with our host, Stephen, you are all laughing now, I'm sure.
Oh, if there's a gadget, I'll buy it.
I wonder, see, I've never used one, so I don't know exactly how they work, but just like a cell phone booster,
that's exactly what
I figured a cell phone booster works by it catches whatever signal's there and just amplifies it.
That's essentially what it does. It's a repeater amplifier.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe you could get that to work. Because there are certain times in Bandcamp when we did have signal.
Yeah, you'll get intermittent service coming in every now and then, depending upon the cloud cover and
I know because, like everybody that knows me, one of my ringtones is a gun cocking, like a lever action rifle. And we would be like sitting there in silence, and then all of a sudden you would hear click, 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 like it just started going crazy. And we're like, oh, we're going to get ambushed and attacked by crazy, Oklahomans. And that and the hay boss that everybody seems to be scared of more than the rifle.
Hey, boss.
Hey, boss.
The whole reason you got the Jeep was to be able to get back into Bandcamp, ultimately.
Yep.
To be able to access those kind of areas. And there's not a lot of people in the Sasquatch community that will actually bite that bullet. So I want to give you kudos.
Yeah.
I'm Jeep Elite.
I don't know about that. No.
You're not in a Wrangler.
I'm just telling you. I'm telling you right now, I got a really good soccer mom car. And
It's more than a soccer mom.
It's much more. There's one half of the people that tell me, "Oh, that's a really cool car or a Jeep or whatever," and that's really cool. And then there's the other half. They go, "So when you taking the kids to practice?"
The people that are teasing you about it are the people who don't actually have a vehicle.
Oh yeah,
that is it. Mm-hmm. And we took it out yesterday on family ranch that we've got, and you were able. That most of where we went on that ranch, anybody could do.
Well, it's West.
There are
Texas.
a few. It is, but it is rocky West Texas. But that Trailhawk had no problems going up, down, anywhere we wanted to go. There was one or two places where we probably might have spotted you if we pushed it, and that was the only thing. But
spotting is a typical behavior
for people who aren't used to four-wheeling at all. Mm-hmm. Spotting is something you do. That just happens. And you don't, when you're off-roading, you don't get anywhere fast. The goal is just to get there. And so, but now we can get there. We can get multiple vehicles in there, and we can get past that mud wallow.
Yep.
That's the big thing.
Oh, we haven't told our audience about the mud wallow.
Oh my goodness. We have a permanent mud wallow that is blocking the road past band camp, which goes to an even better camp that we found. And it's been there for almost a year now that we've been going up there. It doesn't disappear. It has permanent wildlife living in it.
So if you want to go to that second camp, you are hiking in.
You've got to hike in. No, unless you've got a 4-wheel drive. And I would not push the Jeep. First off, because it was the only vehicle could make it down there at the time.
Right.
And we didn't have a winch at the time. Mm-hmm. We now have a very big winch mounted on the front of that sucker. And the entire purpose of that is so if we got stuck attempting that mud wallow, we could pull ourselves through it now. Mm-hmm. And so now that we've got the Trailhawk also there, we can pull the Trailhawk out if it gets swallowed in.
Past that,
but we can, as a team, we can get 2 in, and we can get past it. Now, on a side note, you and I were talking about this, taking up some shovels at some point and seeing if we can't dig a trench to drain that puddle some so it doesn't get nearly so bad.
Because that's essentially all it is that one spot right there makes a bowl.
And it's actually a substantial bowl. I mean, we're what, maybe 30, 40 feet? 30 feet across from end to end?
25, 30.
It's about 2.5, 3 car lengths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, it's impressive.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those where both sides are just straight trees.
Yeah.
So you can't go through it unless you take a chainsaw.
You'd have to do a lot of damage to the habitat in order to get around it. It's an obstacle you have to go through. And so, but we know the mules went through it. We saw people come in on mules, and they came around from the other direction, so they had to have gone through that puddle.
Yeah.
There's no other way around it. So
got off wet because it's pretty deep.
Well, they weren't the cleanest of people when they went through our camp. Mm-hmm. They were covered, but it's possible. Okay, that's been our one trip since the last time we've been on air.
And I still have to make the video.
You still have to make the video.
I've been procrastinating.
You had a phone that went down. You do a lot of people don't realize this.
You have a reason.
All of your videos.
I do everything off my phone.
Everything is off the phone, and your phone bit the dust. It got broken,
and I just now got the replacement for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm in here making intros and stuff for all the YouTube people and all the other people ask me to make stuff for them. And I was sitting there the other day, and I go, I just remembered I still got to make the video for the COVID trip. And then I said, why don't I just stop and make a giant video?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to think of something else I can add in there. That way I'm not just posting something from 4 months ago?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Keep it a little more current.
This year I've only put out one video anyway. We haven't been able to do anything.
Well, that's the whole problem. It doesn't matter if it's current. It will be current because people are sitting at home being like, okay, what now?
Yep.
It'll be something to...
And maybe, and that brings up a good point that I want to say for all of us here. Logan's got the same problem I do on this. We don't want to put anything out just to be putting out.
No, you want quality.
There has to be a quality, and there has to be a reason. I mean, even this video or this show we're doing right now, we're doing it because we haven't put one out in so long, and we feel like we owe an update to people at the very least, and let them know that, you know, we're still here. We're not doing anything. Life has affected everybody, and to be perfectly honest, we don't want to put out fluff. We don't want to put something not worth anything.
If you're not,
you mean like three people sitting around a room
chatting? Oh yeah,
yeah.
3 people, you know, BSing like this is perfect.
If you're not going to put out something that's quality, why are you even going to put it out?
Well,
I mean,
that comes into the next topic because, you know, something we've had a major issue with lately because of, I think, the very situation we have found ourselves in. So everyone in the world is putting out clickbait, even worse than usual.
Yep, that is true.
I mean, it's not just us. All of the shows are reaching. Yeah. They're scraping the bottom of the barrels.
Nobody's going out, so you're not getting any new.
That's right.
Coming in.
There's nothing coming in, and so you're either getting a bunch of rehashing the good old days, or you are getting guests that normally you would never, ever consider carrying.
Yeah. I did on YouTube. What's the Dalatov Pass? The thing in Russia?
Dyatlov Pass.
That one. That word I can't say. I saw one person on YouTube make 3 different versions of a video just for that, so they could have videos coming out. And why not just? He has 3 different theories on what happened there. Why not make one video with all 3 theories? Why put 3 different? It's because they're filling up.
They're filling up. They're wanting clickbait. They're matching out. And that goes to another thing. I'm going to knock this. If you're trying to make a living on Bigfoot, you got a real big problem. If you're trying to make a living on Bigfoot, your credibility, you know, and I used to say, you know, hey, there's nothing wrong with making $1 if you do this or that and aside, it's all good and everything else. But our experience with this show really just demonstrates that in order to make it work as a financial investment or a vehicle, you have to sacrifice everything. You know, I'm sorry, you become a clickbait whore.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, there are people that do it for a living. They go and they sell merch and stuff, their books, CDs, and all shirts and all that stuff.
Hey, we're trying to get into shirts too,
but we're not making a living off of it,
no,
and we're not trying.
No, we're
not. It's literally so we can go out and eat.
That's
that day.
You know, it's I was about to say what we do is try to offset the cost of what we love to do with what we're doing.
And it's not like we're trying to monetize.
But it needs to be stated.
No, yeah.
Let me say this. If you think you have the best information out there about your cryptozoology field, and so you start charging people to interview you, that's not helping the community. That is not benefiting and advancing the science of said cryptid community.
No, it's
that's
not.
That's where it makes me chaff.
Yeah, we ran into that recently.
That makes me chaff.
There is a researcher out there, and they are published. They're well known. They are not in the in the Bigfoot community. I'll say that. This was someone that we were really surprised about because they're fairly legitimate, but they actually are demanding compensation from shows that they appear on. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to compensate you to appear on my show. You're here to present yourself, your books, and everything else. I'm doing you a favor to carry you.
Oh, so I'm not going to get a check for this?
We've got some dishes in the house that need to be done.
I'll get on that. But see, there's a difference though, because there are certain people that they get paid to tell stories.
Mm-hmm.
They're not researchers themselves,
nope.
But they're storytellers. That's their job.
That's different. Yeah,
that's different. But it's one thing to have a storyteller. It's one thing to have somebody that says, yes, I care about yada yada topic.
Right.
But they won't talk about it unless you pay them an ungodly amount.
Yep. That's a little bit of a difference. That just, to me, that doesn't hold weight. Everything has become trying to make $1 off of Bigfoot.
Well, audience, what are your thoughts? Please comment.
We're going to get
know.
hate mail all over now.
I'm sure some people have their own 2 cents that will allow them to put in. Mm-hmm. But, there might be opinions that we haven't thought of. So it's always beneficial.
No, you're right.
Good conversation,
and I'll be perfectly honest.
Helps.
Let me make sure I clarify this a little bit. I'm only talking about on a podcast or an interview show type thing. If we were ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox, whoever, and we were having yes, those people appear, they get paid for their appearance. Mm-hmm. That's fine. This is a little bit different. Also, I'm not knocking anybody receiving compensation for appearing at a conference.
No.
That is, conference people, and I don't think a lot of people understand this, but those speakers at the conferences, they get paid a flat fee, and then they get travel expenses paid. Usually they get their hotel provided for, and at least 1 or 2 meals.
No, but I'm talking about those that do make a living on their chosen field of cryptozoology. And they say, well, I'm promoting my book that other people are going to purchase, which makes me money. And I still want you to pay me for being on your show to ask me 3 questions of a 20-minute interview.
That's right. And
that's greedy.
That's greed. That's greed. That is entirely...
That does not promote the environment.
I'm sorry, but if you're of that quality, why is your animal not proven? When you prove your animal and it is scientifically documented, then you can do the Jane Goodall route. But until then, you're theorizing the way everybody else is. Your stuff might look cleaner. It might smell a lot less, but it doesn't ultimately matter because it's still a hobby. Boy, there was my soapbox. I didn't mean to do that.
But it was.
So how about those Dodgers?
Is that a baseball team?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think so.
None of us do sports.
I just do wrestling. I don't do anything.
Like I said, none of us do sports.
Stay on topic. 3-second break. What are we going to talk about now?
So, has anybody else been paying attention to the? I think the nicest way to say it is cluster going on in the community lately.
No, really, I haven't been paying attention to that one at all. It's totally just, what could you possibly be talking about?
Yeah. So, you would think that it would be a pretty easy discussion if you have a question, that you should be able to ask that question and get an answer. Not get a runaround, not get 15 people come at you that have no part in what's going on. You should be able to ask person A a question, and person A should be able to come back to you and give you an answer. The only thing I'm seeing at this point is it's no longer valid to ask a question of somebody, because asking a question of somebody has now turned into harassment. It has now turned into shaming.
Or an attack. And it all comes down to the fact that, personally, in my belief, the community has got to the point where it would rather please people than do what the community should actually be doing, which is standing up and trying to prove the existence of Bigfoot in this case. We're in the Bigfoot community with this, but this goes for any community. If you want to find Mothman, you should be able to ask a question of whoever the top of the top in Mothman research is and get an answer without 15 people coming at you and calling you ugly. There's no reason why we as a community that wants to be taken seriously are going to act like we're buddy-buddy friends with everybody and let that buddy-buddy friendship
override the validity of the topic at hand. I know you're like me, and I know Jen's like me. I know a majority of my friends, because I'm not going to keep you around. I'm not going to make you stay unless you are 100% serious about the topic. I'm here because I believe Bigfoot is real. Sasquatch, Bigfoot, hairy man, I don't care what you call it. I believe it is real. I believe it can be proven. It's going to be hard to prove it, but in doing that, I want the community to be taken seriously. There is a point where you have to look at the community from an outsider's perspective and realize why they think we're all crazy is not because we're chasing a big monkey around the woods. It's because the people are making it look like we are crazy. There is a point where you should stop and think, is it worth sacrificing my reputation to fake something?
To promote something.
To promote something? Or to hoax something to try to propel me to the top? There's no point in doing that. This is a community that should be built on trust. I should be able to go out to anybody I meet in this community and off the bat trust them. And the problem is, we have so many people that want to reach the top of a non-existent mountain that it has become an absolute free-for-all on the truth and who you can trust.
This all started long before you got involved in Bigfoot. It honestly started long before I ever got involved in Bigfoot. But social media in general has made it 1,000 times worse than it was.
Oh, yeah.
It's a popularity contest.
It has become a popularity contest.
Versus the true crowd that wants to scientifically investigate.
I honestly think the advent of the podcast, podcasts started out as just another medium for people to talk. It then became an entertainment industry.
Yes.
And I think that's the root of all evil we have in this, is because podcasts have become entertainment. We can be accused of a lot of things on this show. Yeah, I'd like to entertain you if I can get you, or to make you laugh or something like that a little bit.
Nobody wants to listen to somebody drone on for an hour straight.
No one does.
Throw a joke in
but
there,
this podcast has never once been about entertainment.
More about education.
Yeah, I would rather have 3 listeners that are legitimate than have 5,000 that are listening to me out of entertainment. It's and the whole entertainment aspect, in order to maintain that, you have to sacrifice your credibility. You have to take on people and guests and topics that you normally probably wouldn't. You have to sell your soul. And it has changed. You have 1,000 people that are into Bigfoot now that never would have been without entertainment broadcasts, entertainment shows.
Or financial gain.
Someone's making money off of it. You're right. And these people they can't even see or tell the difference between what is most likely legitimate and what is pure fantasy.
And then you have the sheep.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm talking about, the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
They cannot tell the difference. And it's just, more do they not care? This is just their worldview. And I'm not even going into the whole, Bigfoot becoming a religion thing right now. Anybody who knows me and has talked to me for 20 minutes on the topic knows that I believe it's crossed the line and gone into a religion. It's been corrupted. And because of that, we have a online society that has a large membership, that has dollars to spend, and there is a monster that keeps wanting to eat the dollars.
And its name is Travel Channel.
Bleep, bleep, bleep.
No, but that's where it started.
Yes.
Discovery, Travel, all of them,
Animal Planet.
Animal Planet. That's where it started. Then it made it to the podcast, and the podcasts have gone worse. Even the most legitimate aimed podcasts, still, they will swing into some really odd territory. You know, I heard something the other day that I never would have thought I heard. I heard a Monster X show. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna call this one out. I'm gonna call this one. I am being told not to call this out. I may edit through. Who knows? But I'm gonna say they put out a podcast the other day that was specifically woo.
And
I mean, they were portals and things like that. And I had such high hopes over Monster X in the past, generally holding up
May I
standards.
interject?
Yes.
What you consider woo might not be subject A's consideration of woo versus this other person over there's
I will grant that.
version of woo.
I will grant that. I have a very zero tolerance, very rigid standard.
So you don't believe in
of
unicorns?
What's woo or not? Of what?
Unicorns. You don't believe in unicorns?
I don't believe in unicorns. You're right. I do believe in ghosts. I do believe in UFOs. Okay.
The unicorns
I believe in a lot of that.
I believe in may now be known as the one-pronged goats from Nigeria.
Well, all right. I shouldn't say that. Unicorns are real. They're called narwhals, and they're
called what?
Narwhals.
Narwhal?
Just be quiet.
Narwhal?
Anyway, yes, there are animals with one horn running around.
I'm playing devil's advocate here because
are.
This is how I like to
I
work.
know, and that's fine, and I deserve that. I'm just saying, I don't believe it's valid to say that Bigfoot is hard to find because he's jumping in and out of interdimensional portals between our woods and his interdimensional time ship, or whatever it is that you want to claim he comes from. All right. I will say, yeah, there are odd questions, but until more evidence is there, I'm more likely to say.
Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah.
What kind of aliens? No.
No, I mean,
no.
I haven't met one. I haven't met one yet.
I am going down the rabbit hole. Do you believe there might be an alien creature out there?
I think it is more likely there is than there isn't.
Then what do you believe is the presentation of this alien? The gray man, the melon head, a furry creature.
I think the octopus makes a really good alien.
Now you're diverting because you know I have a good point.
I'm dead serious. Melonhead, grays, things like that.
So why not an alien that looks like Bigfoot?
They.
There you go.
To be fair,
why the hell would Bigfoot alien come down to Earth and mess with our campers?
Because he loves the mushrooms we have on this planet.
Smokey the Bear put out an advertisement on intergalactic television.
Oh.
And to stop forest fires, he needed basically a race of Chewbacca's. And so Chewbacca's came. They answered. Have you not noticed since Smokey the Bear started that forest fires have dropped?
No, I've noticed they've actually increased.
That's because campers have now employed the use of flamethrowers to scare off Bigfoot. But all that aside, the bad part is it's not bad. In this group, I'm probably the most accepting.
You are.
Of the out there topics.
You are, and that's fine. That I am not attacking that. My whole issue, and boy, we're airing dirty laundry here, people. The whole issue is that it's been me 100%. Logan has wanted to expand our topics out. And I would be happy to. My problem is I don't want to mix topics. That's the problem. I want to keep Bigfoot flesh and blood.
But you can't do that.
but I can't go into anywhere and not have it. If we could find someone who could credibly talk about Bigfoot not being flesh and blood,
You would have done it.
I would do it.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's too many people like me, I guess, or either like me or opposite of me, because they are either, well, when you look at them and you look at what they're saying, yes, on the surface of what they're talking about right now, in its way, they can make their argument look good and plausible, and yeah, we can reference some science to this or that to uphold it. But then you start looking at their wider work, stuff away, whatever, and you realize these people are complete kooks.
So what you're saying is that you like the original recipe. You don't like the addition.
You damn right. I still miss Coca-Cola.
Ingredients.
Pre-1980, whatever.
The cocaine?
Yes.
No,
I want the cocaine and the Coca-Cola back, damn it.
Enough. And there are groups out there. But at the same time, we have to make allowances for...
You need to be, unless they're absolutely crazy out of their mind and look like that chick that was on that Fox News show where she was coked out of her mind.
Oh, yeah.
You need to at least listen to them. You don't have to agree with them. But listen to them.
It's respecting in the community. That's
fair
exactly
enough.
what it is.
And you know what? I know you two are correct on this. I really do know. What I need are guests that can be presented. The longer we've gone on this podcast, the pickier I have become with guests. And it's not, I guess what I'm trying to get to is I'm tending to always try to get to more and more accomplished guests or fresh perspective guests. Let's take a perfect example, okay? One of our highest rated shows, one of the most watched shows we've ever had, was a true surprise, because that was Anthony Shields. Anthony Shields, who has had zero success and luck out in the world anywhere doing Bigfoot. And he'll even admit it. And furthermore, he's even on record saying he has given himself a timetable. He's got a schedule for his midlife crisis that at this point, I'm going to drop Bigfoot and move on to something else. He's one of our highest rated shows because he has a fresh perspective. He's well spoken. He has a very good presentation, and he's a good storyteller.
And he's authentic.
He's very authentic. If I could find someone like that in a different topic area, I would do it. I am not opposed to opening up and having other topics on the shows.
Listeners, please let us know if you have a friend
We're
or
open.
Connection.
If someone wants to suggest somebody, but don't be afraid if we shoot them down in burning flames and crucify them and whatever. I'm sorry. But the truth is, I'm going to get someone like Christopher Noel, and I don't want to go there. All right. I've got a very basic problem here, people. This is my problem with this. Okay, I don't want to carry somebody who is pushing, let's say, glyphs or tree structures, because my very basic premise is if you're interpreting glyphs and stick structures and trying to decide that Bigfoot is leaving a language in the woods, in order to be able to do that, you must first have demonstrated the animal exists. And so many people have forgotten that. They have skipped it. It's too hard. So let's go find this. And so that's fine. Let's go find ancient Sumerian out in the middle of the woods, randomly placed in odd places.
Now, here's my problem with glyphs and being seen as a language. I can walk in my backyard and find sticks that have fell in those symbols on the charts that people put out. I can walk in the middle of town in somebody else's yard and find another one. It's not uncommon in the woods for sticks to fall in certain patterns.
You have 3 or 4 sticks, 3 or 4 lines, okay? There are only so many ways you can arrange those. Now, I know mathematically it's like 3,000 some odd different ways, however it is. But realistically, outside of mathematics, there's only 3 or 4 ways that you can arrange them where another pattern using those 4 sticks would be completely different enough that anybody would be able to recognize that's one pattern, this is another pattern. Because that's how written language is developed, written symbols and stuff. You can't have them so close together that they can be confused. They have to be wide enough apart that the brain recognizes what they are. That narrows down the number of possibilities you can do with those sticks. And just how many trees are in the forest that are shedding sticks that fall? How many things happen to them? It's statistically likely they're going to have resemblance to things.
I would like, and this is my whole mindset, if I don't agree with something, or if I don't think something is accurate, for example, we're talking about glyphs.
Yeah.
If we finally prove Bigfoot to be true, and we get evidence that Bigfoot is walking around putting those glyphs down, I will eat my words, and you are
in
right.
A heartbeat. I would too.
But the chances that this creature already knows an ancient, was it Sumerian language?
Yeah, something like that.
I think it's Sumerian.
It's Sumerian or some variation.
I'm sorry, but that's so out of character. Why? Okay. Why is every single Bigfoot going to have the same exact language?
I don't know, because humanity never pulled it off.
We split up Pangea. People showed up. People started in the Middle East. People expanded. We learned how to make boats. We went overseas. Okay? No, I'm not counting Native Americans in this. I'm counting white people. I'm counting Middle East, where written language...
That is so racist of you.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not... Okay.
Let's say Caucasian.
No, because I'll be perfectly honest with you. You don't have to count Native Americans in that, because the last going theory was it was a land bridge and they were able to walk across. You don't have to worry about the boats. However, that being said, archaeology is still pushing back how far Native Americans were back here. I don't care if you were 5,000 years ago or 20,000 years ago. In my book, that makes you a Native American because you were still among the first people here.
You were the first people here.
Which
I think either Native American or was it First Nation?
Some of them don't agree with that because, and yes, there are different genotypes. You've had different moves, and that's what we know now. We know there have been great migrations of people that have come in at different points.
I believe it was Babylonians were the first people to have a numerical system.
No, I think that was Sumer. But
was
maybe
it?
Not. It may have been. It was Mesopotamians.
It was Mesopotamians, but they had the first mathematical system. The first written language appeared in the Middle East. Now, what you're telling me is these Bigfoot creatures, for some reason, were shopping downtown in local Mesopotamia, and they were picking up this language. And then they just often said, you know what? America looks nice this time of year. And they walked across the land bridge, but they kept that language. You're telling me that those same Bigfoots down there shopping in the market turned around and they swam to Australia and became Yowies and still know Sumerian.
See, that holds no water. Nowhere is something like that demonstrated in any other cultural history of any other group.
I would be more likely to believe that the Yowie has a different, if you want to call it written language, has a different written language than the North American Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. I would like to believe that the North American Bigfoot has a completely different written language than, say, a Yeti over in Russia.
Yeah.
If you split up the groups the groups adapt.
Mhm.
Look at Native Americans. You have Cree, you have Cherokee, you have Apache, you have all these different tribes within close proximity to each other, yet their language are different.
They're different. Some of them may be members of a larger family
That
of
is
languages,
true. Yes.
but they have still isolated out to unique instances of their own thing. I mean, it's just like Latin. How many of our languages are Latin-based or Latin influenced? Latin has influenced
Almost
all
of them.
Almost all of Caucasian languages.
Look at a medical book.
Yep.
It's almost all Latin.
Yep. And so, but you're going to see, but there's a pattern. And so I think it's important to say that you could have what's the term? I can't think of it now. I'm going to call it simultaneous evolution of a language or something like that, where common patterns
are formed.
And they have completely different meanings. They were they genuinely sprang up here. They genuinely sprang up over there and everything else. And it may be dang near the same symbol, but they mean completely different things. Their entire existence is unrelated to the other. It's just a fact that they have a resemblance to each other. That also has to be taken into account. But anyway, it's just that people push these things. You know, we're getting off topic there. Let's get back on it for a little bit. There are people that will push these things. And again, I will say they are putting the cart before the horse. They haven't proved A. They have jumped past B, and they are on C going to D. And there is just by basic definition, no validity in that. You can't, because you have not established your premise. You have not established a source.
It's very unscientific.
Extraordinarily. But they make money on it. They support themselves. They're a good writer or a good speaker. And you've got the sheeple who just run with it, who like it. This fits into their worldviews, because this is this kind of stuff they've been raised on. So they don't see a problem with it. We've really got to establish, does the sun actually rise and set around the earth? Or is it the sun is staying in the same place and the earth is moving? We've got to get onto that kind of a level first. And Sasquatch research in general, a good chunk of it, have declared that it's irrelevant if the sun moves or if the earth moves. All they care about is, we can see all around us. You know?
The fields are open.
The fields are open. The grass is green. Hey, we're good. But, you know?
And I can tell you right now, a large majority of it, you're going to go out. You're going to spend your free time in the woods. You take your friends out there. You're going to go look for Big Monkey Man. Big Monkey Man ain't going to show up.
No.
Big Monkey Man's somewhere else messing with other campers that were more interesting. Well, you don't want to go home empty-handed. So what's the first thing you can do?
Ooh.
I see some sticks on the ground. You know what? Monkey Man left me those sticks because he really liked me. But
his sticks are everywhere. Look at this.
Or that bag of potato chips that I left over there open. There's no
Now,
way a raccoon could have done that. That had to have been Bigfoot.
Now, I'm not saying that I'm against the premise of stick structures, because I have seen some myself that, and Stephen was with me for that one.
We have. We've all seen a few that make us scratch our heads. But they're usually large.
They're huge.
They are really big.
Me
and people want to get on to me about this, but I'm sorry, it's true. A couple of drunk hillbillies, I don't think would have been capable of doing those things.
No, not the ones we found.
No, and if people want to get mad at drunk hillbilly, well, sorry, live with it.
But also, when me and Barry went out, we found a lot of strange structures out there.
Just out of curiosity, though, I'm going to point out on that one.
This
may have been where you were.
Where we were. And I've took that into account.
And there's a lot of people that go out in there.
Exactly.
And it's a known location. You've got other squatchers that are going out there. And that's a problem with our community, is people will purposefully mess with other people.
Yep. And that's why I put that under that's interesting, but it's not concrete file. There is no such thing as a concrete file. The closest thing to concrete I've had so far is what me, you, and I believe it was Darren found in Oklahoma. The big, I have a video of it, but it's like the 4 trees and it's pulled over and they're tied in the middle and then there's sticks going up them.
Oh, I vaguely remember that one.
That is the only one that I sat there and went, I don't know why anybody in the right mind or how anybody would be able to get out there and do what they did.
You see, the how is the bigger question to me always. You got to figure out how it's done. It was like that one that Jennifer and I found in Sam. There, those things were woven. They were trees. They weren't, there were fallen trees, 2 of them, or 1 of them rather. It jammed between another tree, but they had been manipulated. I mean, we're talking over 90-degree twists and breaks, and then we had smaller things woven in between them. Odd. Can't say it was anything, but it was odd. I'm open to stuff like that. I'm not open necessarily to the language. I have to see. I have to have proof the animal is present first. Before we go to language, I first have to have proof that there is a language speaker. And to be clear, I'm using the term language. Yes, I'm aware these may not be words. They may be track sign. They may be indication, like street signs. They may be saying water is over here or something like that. I understand that. It is a symbology that is meant to indicate some sort of meaning. And I am saying we must have proof of something intending to put the meaning out there before we decide what that meaning is. But, this just goes up to just in general, all of the problems that the community has been having lately. It really does. It's what Logan was bringing up earlier, and we diverged.
But you're hurting my feelings right now.
I am sorry.
Why are you hurting my feelings?
Because
my friends don't like that either.
Well, you know what?
You wanna know a harsh fact of life?
I'll give you a lollipop.
The harsh fact of life is science don't care about you or your friends.
But, you're ruining my reputation by telling me that tree structure I found is not truly done by
Why do you care about your reputation more than you care about the subject at hand?
That's a very valid question.
That's true.
That's how I'm looking at all this stuff. You got to look at it from an outsider's perspective where you're not in the community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing a lot of people wanting to make a name for themselves, and they don't care who they bury to do it, but they also don't care who helps them to get there. And they will throw you out.
They really, honestly, don't care about what they're putting out.
No, because the more you put out, the faster you'll get recognition. The faster you get recognition, the faster you can pull a trigger on something that makes everybody happy. Doesn't have to be true, but it makes them happy.
We know people, and we're not naming names, but we all around this table know people in the community that are publicity hounds. That they want to be the center of attention. They want to be who's talked about. They want to be the go-to person. This thing has gotten me. I fell for this several years ago. You first get in there. You want to get hardcore. You want to go prove this thing exists. You want to do what no one else has done before and be successful. And what's the first thing you do besides needing money? Which no one ever realizes at the time.
Yeah.
The first thing you do is you start soliciting for reports. And you start going over all the reports you can find that are on record. There's got to be a pattern. There's got to be gold in there somewhere that you can find that'll help you break this case. And in the process, what you've just done is the same problem everyone else did prior to you, first off. But you open it up and you add in what we talked about before, the entertainment element of the podcast and the media. People get excited to tell their story. They like being on this recording. And people they don't know hearing about them. It's an ego filler. It makes you feel good, makes you feel special. I realize I'm a little bit harder than most people because I honestly think 80 to 90% probably. Oh no, I'd say 80 are outright falsification lies. I'd say at least a good 10 is probably misidentification, but that still leaves 10% that may be legitimate. Okay? People want the attention. You open up and you start looking for sighting submissions or events or things like that, and you find out really quick when you start getting them how many of them you just have to toss out the window. And it's like 1 out of 10 may actually be worth something that maybe is worth your time to go out and investigate. Things start checking out. A lot of people putting on these shows don't do any of that. They're happy to have someone come on their show because that means they've got another show. And that creates so much misinformation and disinformation. The perfect example I can always think of is spider crawling. I listened to the show when that first description came out of the spider crawling Bigfoot. And then for like the next 20 or 30, 40, 50 episodes of that show after that episode came out, people were coming forward saying they had spider crawling Bigfoots. And it became a meme almost.
Domino effect.
It was a domino effect. You brought them out the woodwork. And you have seen... And you should see the mental gymnastics people do to explain how a Bigfoot can spider crawl and how creepy it is. You go back, people don't have books like that anymore. Old books from the original people. I'm pointing to Hendon, grandfather, to Green, to Krantz, and all of them. The early originals that were still doing the things. A lot of John Green, especially. There's none of this types of behavior.
None of them have ever observed that behavior.
It wasn't reported.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't make it impossible either.
It doesn't make it impossible. But there's a realm of possibility. These people are just BS.
No. Don't call it. No. Their behavior may be prone to BS, but don't call the people BS because they have heard it from their friend who they truly believe would never lie to them.
This is true, but the problem is the friend lied.
That's fair, but you can't blame the friend because if they're loyal, that's not a bad thing. The bad thing is they can't think for themselves, and that's a behavior. Exactly. It's not a stupid person.
That's not a healthy mental.
No, it's not. You have sacrificed your reality to someone else's...
To support somebody else's.
Yes, to someone else's vision. And this has been going rampant in the community lately. It's been an ongoing problem for years. You've got new examples that have just come up. And not all of them have actually been as public as some of the others have come. But it's an issue.
And we all need to speak out about it. We can't just stand behind the lines and feel that if we say something, we're not being supportive of the Bigfoot community. Because, in fact, you are detrimental to the Bigfoot community when you don't speak out about something. Perhaps you're wrong about what you speak out about, but you're bringing it to the forefront so that people can examine it and we can move on forward through a scientific means of proving the creature.
Yeah. Logan, you're being entirely too quiet.
He's like, what?
I was waiting for the soapbox, and we were on it, and then I just kind of got lost in the soapbox.
He fell off the soapbox.
Now you have to decide as a person, as a researcher, and as somebody who wants to prove the existence of a cryptid, any cryptid, it doesn't matter, just any field in general. You have to decide whether you're going to please people, whether you're going to actually take it serious, or are you actually going to be able to call out somebody when the time comes that it needs it. I got a really bad reputation of being Steven's attack dog.
which is actually unwarranted. I really want to let people know. It's there.
If y'all know how many times I actually call Steven out on stuff, you would think I hate him. But that's the thing. If I'm sitting here and I'm putting myself on the line because I trust Steven. I trust his process, and I trust how he does his stuff, his research, because it makes sense. If 5 days from now it turns around and Steven was over here making stick structures and getting everybody riled up so he could have something to talk about on a show,
oh God, you'd be all over my ass.
There would be an episode of LVE come out so fast on his own channel that it would not be. I don't know. It would actually be rather impressive because I've been telling him I'm looking for a reason to call him out. I find that fun.
He does. And I want to say something here, everybody. Logan comes up with his own damn topics and his own commentary. I have assisted him some. I have tried to provide, I'll give him snippets like audio clips, things like that.
If I ask for something, if I don't know something, I will say,
exactly.
I'll say, Steven, I've never heard of whatever this person is talking about. Can you send me to what they're talking about so I know I'm looking at the right thing?
Exactly. The most assistance I think I've ever actually done on LVE with you is maybe the artwork.
The artwork and making an intro that we worked hard on, but nobody liked because you were in it, which is hilarious.
I thought that was funny.
But that's another.
I'll have you know, we have gotten compliments, but the compliments are from the people who got the joke, and everyone else didn't understand the joke. And
the show's a satire anyway.
LVE has
the entire show of LVE is looking at the Bigfoot community from an outsider perspective. And that is the reason when that show first started, everybody loved it. But the second I turned around, and I can tell you exactly when it was, it's when I called out gun safety. The difference between me and a lot of your Bigfoot people is I'll admit that I have a really big ego. And I don't care if you don't like that. Because nobody's making you listen to me. Nobody's making you watch me. If you didn't like this podcast right now, you should have turned it off. You're keeping yourself here.
Why are you still listening?
I called out gun safety and got jumped on by half of Arkansas. And then it went from Arkansas to my own friends calling me out for it in Texas and turning their back on me. I don't care. I don't look at comments on LVE. I don't look at views. I don't look at likes. I don't look at anything on it because I could care less whether y'all like it or not. You're going to tell me on Facebook if you didn't or not anyway. The only time I've ever looked at comments on my own videos is when Steven points something out to me. And I'll be like, well, what did they say? Well, they said that you're fat. And I said, well, they're not wrong. Like, I mean, call me out on something serious. Like, but back to what we were talking about before. Everybody needs to be in that mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I trust Steven. I trust Jennifer. If they prove me wrong, shame on me. If I prove them wrong for trusting me, they're going to say shame on me too. And I do not blame them.
I would
learn how to be wrong.
I would like to point out something without getting into names or specifics. You have been several times, we've had people try to poach you.
Oh yeah.
And it started out nice and polite and it got ugly.
Yep.
To the level of poaching trying to do. And it was only to inflate their own and add to their own standings and try to increase their viewerships.
And I would say that's its own episode, but it actually fits into what we're talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never watched my videos, I'm working on another project with somebody else, and it's going to be the same exact way.
Hold on, Logan. If you're a new listener, Logan does an LVE YouTube, Logan versus everyone.
It is
I apologize.
hosted. No, it's okay. It is hosted on our Cryptid Connection YouTube page. It is not available in podcast form. They're video only. And, but they are independent. That is Logan's thing. We support him. I guess you could say we produce him, but I don't even think we produce it. I mean, we just host him, really. That's
I've yet
for
to
him.
get a check.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
but I did give you an old computer.
That is true. That is true, and
We
Lupe helped me
digress.
out one.
We digress. Logan, please
Yeah,
continue.
please
I apologize.
continue.
I just wanted to make the listeners aware of
Which, thank you, Lupe, for the gimbal. It's still
For the,
it's still
you know,
going strong.
Yes, Lupe, that was
Pushing
the
it.
gift.
That
Was the gift
did
that paid
great.
dividends.
My show is out of character for the Bigfoot community because I'm an adult. I don't care what you think of me. When I go to sleep at night, if I'm okay with myself, I'm going to sleep just fine. I don't bleep any language out. I somehow manage to control it. If you don't like cussing, you're going to learn by the first 5 minutes of that episode that you're not going to want to be there. I will call you out if it's bad enough, but I have yet to this point ever actually mentioned someone by name in a negative connotation on that show because they go on Facebook and they call themselves out. That being said, if you do something bad enough that I make a video just for you, and I spend 15 minutes making an intro just for you, you messed up. And I'm going to get you. But I will bring you on my show just to defend yourself. I've made that offer before, and I was turned down.
Yeah, you have been. You've been turned
very
down.
fair.
Yeah.
The episode never came out, but I offered it. Because I'm not going to go on there and try to run you down. I'm not trying to run you down. I want to know why you did what you did and what your excuse is for it. But back on the whole, what did you call it, poaching thing?
Trying to poach you.
Here's the problem with the Bigfoot community. I had people come at me and they wanted me to leave Cryptid Connection to go make videos for them. And if this hurts their feelings, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I got it all in writing. I know exactly what you said. You don't tell me what I have to change in my videos to go work for you. My videos are going to come out exactly like they come out. If I'm going to call somebody out, I'm going to call somebody out. If I'm going to call gun safety out, I'm going to call gun safety out. I do not care about your feelings. If that upsets you, you're talking to the wrong person. If that is something you can identify, I don't care. Go watch my videos. You watch 5 minutes of my video, thank you. But I'm not here for approval. That's the problem with a lot of your community. They're view driven. They're personality driven, but they don't want to admit they got an ego. And that is toxic to the entire ecosystem of this subject.
Yes, it is.
So, what you need to do is you need to get a bomber hat, some glasses, and go out in the woods and find a man licking a leaf and make a video about it.
It wasn't a leaf. It was a bone.
It was a bone. It was yeah.
And I wasn't actually licking on it.
Okay. All right.
But you guys need to watch the Logan versus Everyone Footstock episode.
The Footstock episode.
That is
a lot
the
of people.
skit that we did at the very beginning, which, quite honestly, I'm trying to remember what was the brain. Was Shelley the brain for that or not?
No,
I don't remember how it came.
In any case, it was an over exaggeration that people took offense to, and they should not have.
Oh yeah, and the offense was it was a parody of the
everything is
research.
Everything is
researcher sees
Bigfoot.
everything. Yeah, everything is Bigfoot.
If you go out in the woods and you smell a leaf and the leaf doesn't smell like leaf, Bigfoot rubbed his butt with the leaf.
Yes. And I will tell you, that was the hardest thing to film. We did like 20, 30 takes, it feels like, because every minute or 2 minutes, I would just bust up laughing because I could not.
If I can't, if it doesn't make me laugh after 15 hours of watching it, trying to edit that episode, it's not good enough to send out to the people.
No, and it does make you laugh. If you understand what the humor was aimed at. And
that is a cancer we have in the community. People aren't willing to get their own joke half the time.
Yeah.
Or improve their own thought processes and be called, maybe you are wrong on this. Okay, I'm sorry, let me try to be better.
Oh my God.
How can I be better?
I've been wrong on so many things.
I have too. And you know what? I like to be corrected because I don't want to portray myself
now let me get this
in a
straight.
negative aspect.
I want to this is me talking about that Arkansas episode.
Yeah.
Because the 2 episodes that really got me the most crap, people messaging me directly, was the Footstock episode and the Arkansas episode, which the Arkansas came out before Footstock, right?
No, it came out after.
It came out after. Footstock, I was told to put out a message by the people in charge. I put out that message, and I got the hate mail for it, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm surprised that I got the hate mail from the people that I got it from, because they were my good friends, and they were the guys that I went out with all the time. That surprised me, but at the same time, I'm not surprised, if that makes sense, because I can understand how they would be upset. I understand that I'm not here to make people happy, like I said before. But the whole issue with Footstock was, look, if you were invited and you blew it off and didn't show up, don't be surprised if you don't get invited back. And that just blew up everybody's egos, and they all got mad because they thought they were good enough to be there no matter what. Now we leave Footstock, and we go to the Arkansas cartel video, which the Arkansas cartel name was made that was between me, Steven, and Mark driving. That was before we were even
that was a joke driving its way up there, because we were being accused of what kind of weird people were we going to go meet, because we didn't know any of these people in Arkansas. And it was amazing that we were going to go up and spend a weekend in the woods with people we don't know who say they've seen Bigfoot. And we were getting teased, and we were told, y'all watch out. This is going to be the Arkansas cartel, and they're going to, I don't know.
Yeah,
cut us up in pieces.
Essentially, we were going up there, and we were going to just run into the Arkansas cartel, and we were never coming back. That was the running joke that was made that's why the episode name was the Arkansas cartel.
Yep.
There's actually a part in that episode where it's me and Steven driving with Steven's brother on the phone, and he's on there talking about the Arkansas cartel. That part was filmed way before we even met these people.
Oh, yes.
But I got accused of, calling them that because I was just hateful towards them and all that other crap. And I'm sorry, my personality rubs off wrong.
In all fairness, they have now assumed that name for the name of their group.
I will tell you right now, and there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it, I named that Bigfoot group off of that video, and they ran with it. And I have absolutely no problem with them running with it.
No, they have embraced it in full.
That is beautiful.
I am giving them full kudos for that.
That is smart.
And you know what? I haven't followed them very much, but the core people, the people we liked, are the ones that have run with it and going with it, I think.
Exactly. And it's not that I don't like all of them. There's only 1 or 2 that I absolutely do not
get along with.
Let's put it like that. I'm not going to go out of my way to go out and get in a fight with them. But they deserve credit for picking up the ball and running with it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they first made that group and it came out as the Arkansas Bigfoot Cartel, all they did was add Bigfoot to the name, which that makes sense. Every group's, got to have something to do. But I'm proud of them for doing that. But when I got added to that group at first, I was one of the first people in that group, solely due to the fact that they wanted to sit there and yell at me and call me out in that group. I'm in that group now, and I'm sending them stuff, and I'm trying to help them out.
Yeah.
I am not against them. If you ever see an LVE, and I call, and I make a general statement about something, in that case it was gun safety, I want you to prove me wrong. Uh-huh. I want to be able to come back and go out with your group in another 3 months and have everything I said about you been fixed, resolved, or proved me wrong.
And you're not above being proved wrong.
No.
You will be and I will say this, you are quick to admit when you are wrong.
I want people to prove me wrong.
That's exactly right.
That's the whole point. If I go out there and I look at you and I go, you know what? You're never going to be able to climb up the side of that mountain. I want to be able to let you sit there and spend however much time you need to climb up the side of that mountain. So when I come out next time, I go, you know what? I owe you at least one Coca-Cola because that's all I can afford. I just bought a new car. But that's the whole point. I never called out any names. If anybody ever noticed that, all I did was advocate for gun safety. Did I make a joke about all of Arkansas having no teeth? Yes, but who doesn't make that joke? Now, it's not like Arkansas people make fun of Texas, that's impossible. It's a satire show with a little bit of truth. The only part of my shows that if you actually want to pay attention to and try to get some sort of lesson out of them is the very end. If my show's an hour long, I want you to skip to the last 20 minutes if you want an actual message in it. Credit to the Arkansas Bigfoot cartel for picking up that ball and running with it. That just needs to be said.
It does.
And I don't have any ill will. I don't care who you are. That's one of those, I want you to prove me wrong. Mm-hmm. I will go out. If one of them were to call me up right now and say, can you be here to go out with us on a thing? I would not say no. One, I would not say no because I'm not scared of anybody in this community. Now, granted, they could have 50 people out there waiting for me to step out of my car and then mow me down. But guess what? I'm going to laugh the whole time they do it because I walked into it myself trying to prove a point. But I believe people can change, people can improve if they actually care. Mm-hmm. Mm. If you cannot take the blame for something that you did and run with it and fix it and take responsibility for your own actions, you do not need to be in this community.
No. We all make mistakes. So much of our problems in this community now could have been resolved by people saying, oops.
I messed
up.
Help me be better.
Yeah.
Nah.
Thank you for catching that. I went right over my head. I didn't realize I had done that. We all do it. We do it every day. In real life, we do it every day. It happens.
Yeah.
You can't get along with anybody in real life if you can't do that every now and then.
And let me clarify that. Help me be better. I'm talking about something as simple as I'm new. I don't know how to cast, but I cast this and isn't it cool? What do you think it is? Help me be better by learning how to apply the proper techniques so that I have valid evidence.
Yeah.
And I have an example about that.
Go ahead.
I know somebody, and granted, I only met them once. I spent about 3 weeks talking to this person before I went out with them. That person told me at the beginning when we first started talking to each other that she had only seen Bigfoot one time. And then she told me what happened. Every time I asked her after that, I asked her 2 more times to tell me what her story was. It changed every single time I asked her. If you're new to the community, you don't have to have a story. You don't have to have a good story, whatever a good story is considered. I figured if you run into Bigfoot, a good story is you lived.
Mm.
Don't try to make yourself bigger, badder, and better than you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you're new to the community, awesome. We were all new to this community at one point. All I want is for people to not get thrown under the bus supporting people that do not care about you and that do not have your interest in mind as far as the legitimacy of proving this species is. The second somebody starts saying, you should join our group because we have a lot of views and we get a lot of clicks and we get a lot of people on there that agree with each other. Do not go to a community that exclusively agrees with each other.
No.
Find a community that is mature enough to debate in a mature setting. I'm sorry, but if I go on a comment section and somebody puts up a picture of a deer and says that's Bigfoot, if I can go in that comment section and say, no, sir, that is a deer, and I get 5 comments that say, obviously, you've never seen Bigfoot before, you know what I'm going to reply with? No, but I've seen a deer. It's as simple as that. And once you say something like that, their next thing is, well, you're fat. You never go in the woods. How do you know what a deer looks like?
Or they get onto you about bashing the witness.
That is true. But what I'm getting at is, you're no longer coming at me about the subject at hand, that this is a deer and not Bigfoot. I have suddenly become too fat to walk halfway out into the woods and see a deer. That's not tolerated. Anything in this community that boils down to race, religion, political preference, gender, anything like that, there's no point of it being in this community.
Mm-mm.
I don't care what you look like. Did you find a giant ape running around in the woods or not yet, and you have it in a cage? That's all there is to it. It's simple.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't agree with somebody, you're going to pull everything out of your hat. I don't know how many times I've heard it. She's a woman. She shouldn't be doing Bigfoot stuff. That's
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
What does the fact that she is a woman have anything to do with the validity of her research?
And don't make them walk in the middle of all the men, because sometimes they like to lead the pack. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I'm sorry. I'm guilty of that.
I don't know.
I have been guilty, and I try, honestly. I'd like to say it's because you're my wife that I think that I tend to try to put you in the middle of the pack. I like Logan in front, me in back, or me in front, Logan in back.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, it's the nagging little feeling that there may be something to missing 411. Not that I believe everything, but there is a fact that there is unexplained disappearances out there. And so it's just like you not wanting the kids to wear red.
That's just me being stupid. But I was commending Logan on thank you for saying that about women. I appreciate it.
And you're right, but I am saying
that
I know I have been guilty of that, and I need to stop that. It doesn't matter who's front and back. I do tend to think that I like a bigger person in back, especially.
That's why I'm in the back 90% of the time.
Usually. But, the back person, if anyone falls or gets into trouble in the line, the back person's the one that's going to respond first, more than likely. So there's a logistic reason for that. But as far as front goes, all I ask is that we all stay within eyesight of each other, really. Now, I get tighter on that the bigger the group. God help us, that 9-foot stock, when we had 20 people practically going on a night hike in the woods, that was like herding cats. And the primary thing was we only had like 3 vehicles that everybody came in, and I didn't want to have anybody get separated in the middle of the night on the woods. And
we did something. We did another no. I stepped on Logan again.
You did?
I step on you. I'm sorry. He was in the middle of something, saying something, and
You see how terrible we are?
I was going to be a good guy, and I'm going from defending women to defending other people now.
Well,
I don't blame you.
Because it does need to be said. Because I can't say that word. I'm used to my format. I've been crapped on a lot. Once again, I don't care what your religion is. Don't care what your sexuality is. Don't care what your gender is. Blah, 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 blah. I have seen so many people dismiss credible witnesses, dismiss credible evidence because of somebody's sexual orientation. I've had people come on my messenger and send me messages and ask me why I'm defending somebody like that. At that point, I will cut off all communication with whoever did that, because your opinion no longer matters to me. You are not in this for the science of it. This is no place to put somebody down because of who they love. This is no place to put somebody down because of what they look like, what they believe in. That's my soapbox.
And it's a good soapbox. I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. People will use every stupid reason in the book to try to discredit something they don't like or they resent or they're jealous of. You know, and it's a problem in the community. The community is, on many things, intolerant.
That is true. But the community is also, okay, I can't speak for around Oregon and Washington, the Pacific Northwest. I can't speak for that because I've never been there. I've never been around those people up there. Around Christmas time this year, I'm supposed to go to Oregon, but I doubt I'm going to be able to do any Bigfoot because it's in December. And I don't know about you, but I'm a Texan and I've never seen snow. I'm scared of it. So, I'm talking about Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Texas. The only 4 states that matter. Well, I say 4. Texas is the only one that actually matters. But so, in those 4 states, I know for certain 90% of your Bigfooters are diehard Republican. Republicans hate Democrats. Democrats hate Republicans, dog and cat. There's no other way to get around it. We ought to just do away with the government, become libertarian, and forage for ourselves and let the weak die out. But if we're going to put a basic label on the Bigfoot community in these 4 states, we're going to call them Republican.
Mm-hmm.
The community as a whole has went from being Republican to being Democrats. They're turning into what they hate. You hear everybody preaching about we want to be all inclusive. 2 hours later, those same people will turn around and tell me that man can't know what he's talking about because he's gay. That's wrong. That man knows exactly what he's talking about. You just refuse to accept his viewpoint because he does not identify with what you want. I've heard the same thing about female researchers. And I've heard that 1,000,000 times. You go to any conference, you wait for a woman to go up there and you wait for her to speak. The men go, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Well, what makes her any different than you? You look at it as this woman's going out in the woods. This woman has been trained to do track and field. This woman knows her wildlife. This woman will do what most men won't. And you already know who I'm talking about, so I ain't even got to say a name. But she'll go out there for 3-4 months at a time by herself. And the men will absolutely destroy her.
Eviscerate her.
Because she's a woman. That is the first thing that always comes out of their mouth. And I'm going to be honest here. When I first started doing Bigfoot, I came in with the crowd that was like that. But what I did was I took a minute to go, maybe I should go and talk to them in person and see what they're actually like. And then I realized it's nothing. Just because she's a woman doesn't mean anything. She's got a valid point. She's got all this stuff going for her. But 90% of the problem with the community that the community has with her is she's a woman and she's doing more than me, a man. That's upsetting.
What's equally upsetting, fairness here, she invalidates a lot of what they say, too. Because she will go out.
That is true.
And they will say, we had this, and this happen. And she'll go out and she'll say, well, you had a coyote. You had a skunk. You had a, whatever.
And that's
and she takes the Bigfoot away from it because she puts the wildlife back in.
Yeah.
And she demonstrates that you are being gullible. At the least, you're self-hoaxing is the
or
term.
Uneducated,
and we go
very
about
uneducated,
the
and they
wildlife
don't,
around you.
and people don't like that being pointed at them.
No, and that goes back to I'm going to spend my vacation time from work to go out in the woods for a weekend and look for Bigfoot, and I will not have it any other way. I am going to come back with some form of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
I found them sticks on the ground. Well, there's sticks all over the ground. I found a print. Well, I mean, it's a armadillo dig.
Cool.
Little nose dig thing. But I mean, it's not like it's Bigfoot. But if it makes you happy, I'm not going to stop you. Just know I ain't going to
put any worth in what you say.
I'm not going to back you on it.
That's right.
But if it makes you happy, you do it all you want. But there is no point. And here's why I'm saying this. When I first came in this community, as a new person, as an outsider, I was told that she was crazy because she actually would say stuff was not Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
And then I realized you're never going to get anywhere saying everything is Bigfoot. You need skeptical people.
Yeah.
That is the whole point. So, just remember, if you're at a conference and you have some people that have never been to a conference, never done Bigfoot before, you have little Timmy walk in there and he goes, I'm going to be king of the cryptids one day. And he sits down and he sits by you and all he hears the entire time this woman is speaking is, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's a woman. You just set the worst possible example you could ever set for our community. Mm-hmm. If you sit there and you go, well, he's gay, so he obviously don't know what he's talking about. He'd never go in the woods. Someone ought to knock the crap out of you right then and there and tell little Timmy that he needs to go move over to somebody else's table. That should not be acceptable. If you're going to be like that, stay home, because that's where you belong. That's my other soapbox.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's a valid soapbox.
It's a very valid
very
soapbox.
Valid.
That's not a bad thing. Someone has to call it out. No one has called it out. People allow the fear of friendship.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, lately I've been using the term tyranny, the tyranny of publicity or popularity, tyranny of popularity. You want to fit in, you want to be a member of the group, you want to be a big to-do within your little social circle. And so what we've got is 50 social circles that are running around who somewhat interact, somewhat overlap, but no one wants to upset the apple cart and realize that emperor has no clothes. That there is, I'm sorry.
Woo!
Well, it's true.
There
is not. My big thing is the audio. I'll go out there and record audio with people all the time, and I don't know how many times I've got people had their recorders out, and I've got my recorders out, and they will say, that's got to be a Bigfoot. That's got to be this and that. And I'm like,
that's an animal. That's a canine. That's a dog or a coyote or a wolf. And the problem is with the audio, you can't be certain because you don't have video of what's making that sound. Okay? We have audio, some that's been videoed as well, of canines and wolves and dogs and things making similar sounds. In a lot of cases, we have them making the identical sounds. Of course, that canine may have been in Wyoming or in Canada or whatever. And people want to nitpick and say, well, it's not in Texas, so we don't know what a Texas one sounds like. So obviously that's Bigfoot. And you just, people don't realize that the best they can get, the absolute best they can get is this audio we can't match to anything else. We don't know what this is.
It's really what you're kind of wanting.
That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to move heaven and earth to try to match that to something else. If it's a 90% match to a wolf or a dog, don't sit there and say that Bigfoot's imitating. Say, I think that's a wolf or a dog. Because you can go out in the woods and you can find tracks for those animals. You can find the tracks for those dogs and for those wolves or coyotes or whatever. You can find trails. If you have tracking skills, you can follow the animal through the woods. But you'll go out there and you'll find an imprint that looks suspiciously like a woman's size 11 bare foot. Maybe. And you only find one of them, and yet you'll say it's a Bigfoot, and maybe it's a juvenile. There is a certain level of reality here that we have to apply if we're going to get in there, because otherwise you're just spinning your wheels, and you're wasting not just your time, but everybody else's, and it's only to feed your ego of, look, I went out and I found something. Mm-hmm. How many times the three of us have gone out in some form or another, and over the last 2 years at least, we find crap. We have one or two things we might think are interesting, but have we ever found anything? And I'm putting quotes on found.
Air quotes.
Yeah. We don't. It's the standard. It is the expected when we go out. If we actually do experience something, or we do find something, it's a big deal. To us, wow, we did. Why? Because that's the rarity of it.
And that's like the time that I had whatever happened to me and I called you.
Yes, you did. You called me up in the middle of the freaking night.
Because I was sitting there and I was going, well, am I about to get my head ripped off? So that's another story though.
It is another story.
But that's what it is.
I was warmed that you woke me up in the middle of the night. Actually, I don't think I was asleep, but that you called late at night and you were like, dude, there's something over there and I can't see. And I'll say, you never said it was Bigfoot.
No, I still don't think it is. I've had a million people tell me it was Bigfoot, but I couldn't confirm it. Mm-hmm. And because I cannot confirm it was Bigfoot, mm-hmm. It is not Bigfoot.
Yeah, because you went back there the next day and looked all around there, didn't you? And you didn't find anything.
I didn't find anything.
No. But, yeah, you gotta, people just, I know. People just want to get on the publicity wagon. They've got to be someone special. And once they get a taste of that special, they have to continue the special. Every so often, it's what's the warning sign? Be careful of groups. So every time they go out, they find something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. I think we're going to have to tie up. We've only been at it for 3 hours.
That's it.
We've surely got something here we can cut up.
This should make up for the slight break from April 20th.
It will. This will piss everybody off, and
but people want bigger shows, because they want bigger shows till you make a bigger show. I'll tell you what,
I found out they want bigger shows because they sure don't like 2-part shows.
They want bigger shows till you give them bigger shows. That's what matters.
Yeah. I'll probably cut this down to an hour, a little over an hour and a half. We've got enough breaks in there we could. But anyway, sit back down because we all got to say goodbye.
We have a, format thingy.
So anyway, we're going to have to go now. Do we have any parting thoughts?
Honesty is the best policy when it comes to the community effort, because it should be a community effort.
I have a parting thought. Damn it.
It
just happened.
Yeah, mine just went away.
No, yours didn't. But I will say this as a parting thought. Please recognize the difference between those who are trying to prove or disprove the existence versus those who just want to go out and experience. If you're wanting to experience, or if you want to do it just for your own personal motivations, that's fine. Leave those of us who are trying to prove or disprove something alone. Because, why are you out there? Because you're just out there enjoying nature, and that's fine. That's my 2 cents.
Birds aren't real.
I've often wondered that.
Yeah, birds aren't real. That's my parting thought. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, till next time.
All right, y'all. We'll try to get something worthwhile and everything coming up here before long. And we're getting over the summer season, which is the dead time anyway, because at least down here, the heat is so oppressive. No one likes to go out in it. But be looking for everything, and we'll get stuff done. And again, beware. If you do have or do know of somebody that you think really would be a good guest, go ahead and look us up. Hook us up on Facebook or something and let us know. The last couple of people that we have tried to get to be guests and do shows honestly have not wanted to be on the shows because they have been on podcasts and they got a lot of grief over what they said or what they believe or anything like that. They're to the point they don't want the public attention. And that's really a sad thing, that someone who has something interesting and valuable to say wants to be quiet because they don't want the attention to themselves, because they don't want harassment. Again, that goes back to the nature of our community, and we all need to be looking at it. Y'all have fun, and you'll be hearing from us soon. Check out the Facebook fan page, the Cryptid Community fan page, if you want to get a hold of any of us. That's the easiest way to do it. You can also go to CC. Other than that, y'all have a good night.
Don't say that. Because they might not be listening to it at night.
They might not be listening to it at night.
No, this is Jennifer's historical complaint. I always want to do it like that. Y'all have fun. And whatever time of day or night you're in, enjoy it. All right. Bye.
I yelled on there.
Guests of Cryptid Connection are all members of the Cryptid Connection website. Join the community, a safe, secure, and private place for all your paranormal and cryptid pursuits.
Every cowboy, he always misses when he's aiming at the target in his head. And every broken man finds his idle hands grasping at tomorrow's promised land. And I've been thinking about running, and I'll get out on the town just for myself. And that's when I saw her, and she looked right through me. And when I said I do that day, I really do. 'Cause every cowboy, he always misses his shot when he's aiming at the target in his head. gotta leave this town to find my way. And when that plane touched down on that island town, I knew that my life's work was in their hands. So I started digging for wells of water, and I'm a hero in their eyes. It's clear to see. 'Cause every cowboy, he always misses his shot when he's aiming at the target in his head. And every broken man finds his idle hand, grasping at tomorrow's promised land. And I've been thinking about the time that I have wasted sitting here. 'Cause I've been thinking that all this thinking is the thing that keeps me further from myself.
The music and soundtrack for the opening is from Epic Film Score by Alex Kaskin. The closing credits are Every Cowboy by Cellophane Sam.